Right, well, up next we got a pair of crankbaits, it looks like. Daniel's getting those loaded up there. So we have the Squarebill and then also a MiniDiver. Now, you don't have the MiniDiver on hand yourself, but we'll go ahead and show those on camera when you talk about it. But up first, let's talk about the Squarebill and the design of that bait. And have you had a chance to fish this much at all this year, or is it still kind of you guys just now getting these?
I got to actually fish. Now I'm going to back up a little bit. I got to fish the elite, the lipless, a little bit at the St. Johns River in our actual elite tournament. So I got a good feeling for that bait and how it's working and all that. I've gotten to throw the Squarebill a little bit. I've thrown the 3. It's a 35, but it's a 3-5 on the bait because it's a 3 to 5 foot runner. That's what we call it. So I just call it the 35. It's the size that everybody likes. You know, it's the 2 1/8 inch. It's kind of the, you know, the 1.5, 1.75 inch bait. It's a little bit, the body's a little bit shaped different than most baits on the market right now. Is a Squarebill where it's real fat at the head and then it tails off real thin on the end. So it gives it a kind of a unique action. But one thing that comes with this 3, 35 and 57, 3 to 5, 5 to 7 bait is the weight magnetic transfer system where there's a magnet actually up. It's kind of inside above the front hook. But what it does is you have 2 big ball rattles in there, and 90% of the time they're stuck to that magnet up front until you go to cast it. And when you go to cast it, those balls will run to the end of the bait. They can run in a chamber. And when they run to the back of the bait, it allows the bait to be casted a lot further where you can, let's say you've got this 3 to 5 small profile bait and you want to throw it around some, you know, under docks, around some overhanging trees or something like that. You can throw it and you'll have enough weight to be able to put the bait where you want it to. Like if you were throwing around cypress trees, for instance, that's where I've been using it a little bit. And it's just a good, where I can take a normal weighted Squarebill and it's kind of hard to cast, and then you take this one and you can kind of put it where you want to in little tight places. So that's a little key difference in this bait. But even if when you cast it and the balls roll to the back, as soon as you start to reel it and engage, I mean, obviously tighten the line up, the balls are going to run back down that magnet and it'll run like it's supposed to.
Very nice. And so I'm a big fan of throwing Squarebills in general, and I really like getting to where you don't want to put the beater up in the cover, and that accuracy cast, or making it easier to cast beater accurate, I really like that. So definitely I'm going to have to check these guys out. These are available for pre-order. A lot of cool colors, and again, in the 5 to 7, and then the smaller version, the 3 to 5 foot diver. And then we also have a new crankbait in the MiniDiver, and this is the one we'll be able to show here on the camera that you don't have here. But just talk a little bit about the bait, the design again, and then just situation of where you think this bait would come into play, maybe this year or coming up at a future event, or just seasonally.
Yeah, I really think this bait might come into play for me personally because we're going to have a lot of events on up into the fall that hasn't happened on the Elite Series in a long time. And I think this is a really good fall bait because most of the time across the country, the bait fish that the bass are feeding on are going to be relatively small. And I mean, and that's basically what you're going to get out of this bait. You've got a small profile, but you're able to get it down deep enough to where you might be on some deeper riprap, you know, bridges, riprap, stuff like that. And where, you know, in the fall of the year, sometimes I've even caught fish on the little crappie crankbaits. I mean, just that small profile, but now you've got that bait that's able to get to that depth. It still has the weight transfer system, the magnetic, as the other 2 crankbaits do. You know, it's got the same colors. It dives. I think it's the one I used. I was throwing, I think, on 8-pound line, and it would get to around 5.5, 6 foot deep, which is pretty neat for that size bait. And it's going to be a good fall bait. I know it, just the way the forage is most of the time where I live anyway. I mean, you're always dealing with those smaller than average size shad, and it's just going to be a good bait for that situation.
Yeah, very cool little compact little bait. Again, I love throwing crankbaits and all time of year, and I haven't got much into the real small stuff a lot. I've wanted to, but I definitely need to check this guy out and play it a little bit because, like I said, I'm a big fan of throwing the cranks. So if you guys want to check out the new baits, make sure to order them or pre-order yours today at Tackle Warehouse.